All right, let's talk about something huge. For what feels like forever, we've been hearing this word tokenization. You know, the idea of turning real-world stuff into digital tokens on a blockchain? It always sounded a bit like science fiction, right? Well, the future is officially here. Because the absolute titans of finance and technology are finally coming together, and it's kicking off a massive shift.
And we're not talking about some small niche experiment. This number you're looking at, that's the size of the global fund industry, a $100 trillion system that is right on the brink of a major tech-fueled upgrade. The scale is just staggering, and believe me, that's the prize everyone has their eyes on.
And that brings us to the $100 trillion question, right? This is the exact dilemma that's kept the big institutions on the sidelines for so long. You can't just, unplug the entire global financial system and plug in a new one. So how in the world do you bring in this amazing new technology without causing complete and utter chaos? Well, the answer is all about building bridges, not knocking down walls.
So the solution isn't about demolition. It's not a revolution in that sense. It's actually about construction. It's about building a solid, reliable bridge that connects the old, trusted world of finance to the powerful new world of blockchain.
You have to put yourself in a bank's shoes. Their current systems, their legacy infrastructure, that's their fortress. It's been built up and battle-tested over decades to move trillions of dollars around securely. So the idea of just ripping all that out and starting from scratch, it's a complete non-starter. And that risk, that complexity, has been the single biggest wall until now.
And this, right here, is the big mindset shift that changes everything. The old way of thinking was this scary idea of rip and replace. But the new, much smarter solution is plug and play. Instead of telling these massive institutions they have to change everything, the new model says, hey, just plug into this new world using the tools you already know and trust.
And here's how simple that plug-and-play idea is in practice. It all starts with a bank doing something it does thousands of times a day. It sends a standard Swift message. That's it. Chainlink's tech then acts like a super secure interpreter. It catches that message, understands it, and then uses it to trigger an action, a smart contract on the blockchain. It's that seamless.
And just look at the players involved here. This isn't some small-time operation. You've got Swift, the literal backbone for communication between more than 11,000 banks. You've got UBS, a true global financial giant. And then you have Chainlink, the industry-standard platform for connecting blockchains to real-world data. This is the absolute A-team for building that financial bridge.
And this quote from Chainlink just nails it. The whole point is to make the barrier to entry so low that any one of those 11,000 institutions can start using tokenized assets without some painful, multi-year, disruptive overhaul. What it all boils down to is just making it easy, making it accessible.
But connecting old and new finance is only one part of the story. Because now another giant is stepping into the arena, bringing the kind of firepower and trust that's needed to really take this whole thing mainstream. And that's big tech.
And here you have it. Kronos, a major blockchain ecosystem connected to Crypto.com, is now working directly with Amazon Web Services, AWS. This is a huge deal. It's a massive stamp of approval, bringing the power, security, and scale of big tech directly into the tokenization space.
And they are absolutely not thinking small. Their goal is to have $10 billion in tokenized assets on their platform and a user base of 20 million people, all by 2026. These are the kinds of numbers you can only really shoot for when you have the horsepower of a company like Amazon behind you.
So what does a tech giant like AWS actually bring to the party? Well, it's way more than just servers. It's that cloud-grade security that the world's biggest companies already rely on. It's the infrastructure to scale up to millions of users without even blinking. And just as important, it's all the advanced tools and the built-in compliance frameworks that institutions absolutely need to feel comfortable.
So here's why this matters so much. When big tech gets involved, it basically de-risks the entire thing for everyone. It creates this trusted, secure superhighway for everybody, from the scrappy new startups to the most conservative banks, to come in and confidently build the next generation of finance. Okay, so we have the bridge from old finance, and we have the superhighway from big tech. But there's a third incredibly powerful force that's now entering the picture, one that's going to make this new system not just connected, but truly intelligent. And that's artificial intelligence.
See, none of this is happening in a bubble. This massive shift in finance is colliding with probably the other most transformative technology of our lifetime. AI is coming in as the next layer of innovation,
and it's bringing a whole new level of automation and efficiency to this digital world.
And we can already see exactly how this is playing out. In that Chainlink and Swift partnership, they're using large language models to read complex financial documents, like a press release about a dividend, and automatically turn it into data a smart contract can use. Meanwhile, on the Kronos and AWS side, they're giving developers AI tools to build smart agents and run really advanced analytics on all that blockchain data.
And when we talk about large language models or LLMs, like GPT from OpenAI or Google's Gemini, think of them as super smart AI translators. They can read and understand human language from a document and then translate it into the perfect structured data that a computer program needs to execute flawlessly. It's automation on a completely different level.
So when you take a step back and look at all these different pieces together, it becomes pretty clear this isn't just a bunch of random, separate experiments. What we're witnessing is a coordinated, strategic push from the biggest players in finance and tech, all moving toward the exact same future.
So if we boil it all down, there are three really key things to take away from this. First, institutional adoption isn't some far-off dream anymore. It's happening right now through this smart integration. Second, big tech is pouring gasoline on the fire, acting as a massive catalyst for growth and trust. And third, AI is the next evolution, the intelligence layer that's going to make this new system sing.
And this is really the most important point to grasp. What we're seeing from companies like Swift, UBS, AWS, and Chainlink, these aren't just little science projects. These are the actual blueprints for the future of finance being drawn up and laid down right in front of us.
So the technical walls are coming down. The big institutional barriers are crumbling. The blueprints are in hand. And that means the door is wide open. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. What's next? What's the next big, real-world thing to be tokenized? Is it real estate, private company shares, fine art? The race is officially on.